Here he is, Luke Willson. How are you, buddy? What's going on? How's your day going?
I mean, I don't know if it could be better. As you know, here in Ontario, we've got a couple warmer fall days, which I'm enjoying before winter comes.
I couldn't agree more. You got to savor it as much as you can. You know, Luke, there hasn't been a player this season that's been put in concussion protocol that has actually been cleared to play the following Sunday. We kind of know where this is going with Brock Purdy. So if Sam Darnold does start this weekend against the Cincinnati Bengals, what's your level of concern for this Niners team?
I would say it's very high. And the reason I say that is you look at what Kirk Cousins was able to do to this defense throwing the ball, on Monday. He obviously had a ton of success. You would think that Joe Burrow, with a healthy Jamar Chase and all his weapons, would be able to do the same. And that being said, then you're going to need this offense to score points and hopefully, be able to throw the ball a lot. Can Sam Darnold do that? And can he do it without committing a turnover? So that's where my concern goes for the Niners right now. I will say the good news is when you compare the Vikings to the Bengals, I think the Vikings do a much, much better job at protecting their quarterback. So if this pass rush and this front seven can really get after Burrow, they can really stymie this Bengals passing attack, which will put them in a good position.
Let's talk about Thursday Night Football. I cannot wait for this game, buddy. The odds brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The Bills coming off that loss to the Patriots that everybody was scratching their heads about. So it's Thursday against the Bucs. Is this officially a moment of desperation for this Bills team, Luke?
Absolutely not, Jake. Here's the thing. The Dolphins also lost. And you look at this division right now, and I think every single team has their issues. A couple weeks ago, we thought, the Dolphins might just absolutely run the table here and score 1,000,000 points. But we're starting to see now, obviously, the Bills beat them. You saw the Eagles handle them. They have a bit of a flaw in their game plan, and that is when a team comes in with a lot of physicality, stops a run, they have a hard time scoring this amount of points. So right now, the Bills are one game back of the Dolphins. Obviously, they want to take care of business on Thursday night against a team that they are better than. But it is a moment of desperation or panic. No, I think the Bills need to go out. They need to play great football, and they will win. At the end of the day, if something bad happens to Buffalo, they still have a phenomenal roster, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They just need to get everything figured out and start executing.
NFL trade deadline next Tuesday. The Titans are starting Will Levis on Sunday. That's going to be interesting. And our buddy Mike Garafolo from the NFL Network is saying that they are monitoring the Titans because this team is so out of it, they think they might actually move Derrick Henry, which would really be something. I mean, you can't imagine that every team wouldn't want Derrick Henry, but is there a specific landing spot that you feel like would be extra sweet for that running back?
I think for both Derrick Henry and this offense, the Buffalo Bills would be the perfect landing spot. Let's start with Buffalo. First and foremost, they're going to most likely make the playoffs, and it will be very, very nice if they have a home playoff game or if they have to go on the road to Baltimore or Cincinnati or somewhere else that's very cold to roll in there with Derrick Henry as your running back. He is elite. He is a freak. There's nobody else like him at that position, and he's done it year in and year out. The next thing I'll say is, personally, when I watch the Bills, I think that they really struggle to commit to the run game. They always talk about, hey, we want to run the ball, we want to be more balanced, but there's numerous games this year where I felt like they got very, very one-dimensional because of their own play calling. When you trade for a guy like Derrick Henry or when you have someone like that in your locker room, that puts a ton of pressure on Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator, to get him involved early and often and stick to it. So I think that that'll help him with his play calling. And the next thing I'll say, just to kind of ram this point home here, Jay, is if you look at Josh Allen's picks this year, every single one of them have been on a throw that's 15 yards or more down the field. If you're a safety in this league and you are playing a team that has Derrick Henry on it, I promise you, even if you're not involved in the run fit, you know that it takes more than one person to bring him down. So that split second where you're really eyeballing to see if Derrick Henry has the ball and do I have to get in the box and fit up my run fit or potentially help a linebacker make a play could be the difference for Josh Allen to keep continuing slinging these deep shots. And maybe that split second, like I said, is the difference between a pick and a catch. You never know. But I think that Derrick Henry really, really would help this team, this offense. And on the flip side, if you're Derrick Henry, you go to that team, you're going to a team that is playoff ready and has a very, very deep roster and has a guy in James Cook. So you don't necessarily have to take every single snap the entire game.
That was very convincing, I got to say. Bills Mafia. If Bills Mafia is not all in on Luke Willson, they should be right now, because that was very convincing. Luke, our other guest on the show today, Pierre LeBrun, massive, massive Dallas Cowboys fan, as you know. In fact, he's insisting I now call Dallas North America's team. Not just America's team. He wants me to call them North America's team. Well, guess what? North America's team been a little shaky the last 4 weeks. That disastrous loss to the Niners, that disastrous loss to the Cardinals, and then just squeaking one out against the Chargers before their bye week last week. They host a better, I think you'd agree with me on this, a better than expected Rams team they're playing this Sunday. Jerry Jones says he doesn't believe the team has reached its potential yet. Do you feel they're going to reach their potential under their current head coach, Mike McCarthy?
No, I do not. And Jerry Jones is correct. This team has definitely not reached their potential. But you said it. Mike McCarthy and what he's trying to implement on offense, I don't think is meant to have these guys reach the potential they could be. I mean, what is the identity of this team? We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, Jay. You know, they asked CeeDee Lamb after one of those losses, what is the identity? And his response is, I don't know. And you look at the Chargers game last week, you certainly didn't learn much about this offensive identity from that either. So as far as reaching the potential under Mike McCarthy, my answer is going to be definitely not. However, for Pierre and all other Cowboy fans out there, on the other side of the ball, I do believe that this team can be an elite defensive unit under Dan Quinn. I've played with Dan Quinn, or as a player for him, as a coach. This guy is a motivator. He is a defensive guru, and he knows how to use his personnel. And I think that's what you're seeing right now with this Dallas team, is a yin and a yang. Dallas's defense can certainly play well. They can certainly be an elite unit. And he's trying to figure out what the best position for everybody is. Where on the other side of the ball, I just feel like McCarthy is really stuck in what he wants to do, and he's not playing to the potential that his players have. He's trying to force them into his own game plan, which is not always the best in this league.